Thank you all for joining us here at Medici Media Space. We have another great presenter to come talk to you. We've got Craig Severinsen from Brightworks PR and Marketing, who's going to talk about something that we all need, which is landing more clients. So welcome, Craig Severinsen.
Great, thanks guys. Being up here with this mic on, I kind of feel like a low-tech Steve Jobs. It's like, it's really great. And I also I do want to remind everyone in the back, this isn't SeaWorld, there is no splash zone. So if you would like to come sit up front, it's okay. You won't get wet, I promise I won't spit too much. Well guys, thanks so much for having me. Today we're going to talk about how to land more clients faster than you think possible. The 3 keys that I see working with clients that will help you get there quicker. So just so I can get a feel for it, what I really like about this intimate environment is that it can be a little bit interactive. So what I'd really like to see is just to raise a hand, who is in an industry where they need clients? Okay, everybody, fantastic. Yeah, is anybody product-based? No, so everybody's service-based, that's fantastic. Yeah, some people went like this, okay. So if that does apply to you, we're gonna be focusing mainly on service-based businesses, but if you do have a product or if you've productized your services, this will help you there too. You just have to kind of adjust it as you go. To give you a little bit background on who I am, I actually got started in this way back a long time ago at a little company. You may have heard of it, the Walt Disney Company. Has anybody heard of that before? Yes. Okay, good, one guy, great. Yeah, one person heard of it. Yeah, the Walt Disney Company, I did public relations for them, for Disneyland Park and for their park in Hawaii called Aulani. And I loved it. And I learned a lot about storytelling and about marketing and getting your message in front of the right people. But I always had the desire to start my own business. I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. So I took the leap and I started my own public relations company. I was ecstatic. I was happy. I was broke. I had no clients. And I couldn't figure out how to do it. So here I was with a family. I had 2 kids at the time. I have my company, and I did have clients, and I did have work, but they weren't the right types of clients. They weren't clients I wanted to keep around, quite honestly, and they weren't paying me very well. So I started calling people who I would consider my mentors. I called former colleagues, former bosses, and even former professors from college. And I remember being on the phone with a guy who used to run the student-run PR firm at the school I went to, Brigham Young University. And he had since moved on to a big PR firm and was doing a similar thing where he was in charge of getting new clients. And I'm sitting there talking to him on the phone, and I'm asking him, how do you get clients? How does it work? And he's giving me some general answers, and I'd say, okay, that's great, but no, really, how do you do that? And he'd give me some more general answers, and after about 20 minutes, I sat there and the light bulb finally went off in my head that this guy has no idea how to get clients. And I started thinking back on all those conversations I had. Those people have no idea how they're doing it. They're getting lucky and clients are coming, but they really don't know how, step 1, step 2, step 3, to go get clients. So that put me on a journey. I suddenly had a mission. I wanted to discover how to get clients. And the result of that, the blood, sweat, and tears of my work is part of what I want to share with you today. So that's where I'm coming from. And this is really valuable information. It's going to be a lot, and I don't want you to have to worry about taking notes. When I sit in workshops like this, I'm frantically writing as much as I can. So I do encourage you to take notes, but I also want to offer you, I've got my personal notes on this presentation typed up. If you'd like me to send you my notes, just write your name and your email here, and I'll send it to you. And just make sure you print legibly. And for those who are perhaps not present and will be watching this later, if you would like my notes from this, you can actually email me, and I'll put my email here. It's Craig, C-R-A-I-G, at Bright, B-R-I-G-H-T, Works, W-O-R-K-S, PR.com. And just in the subject line put, send me your notes. You don't need to put anything in the body. I like jokes, so if you want to send me a joke, you can, but you don't need to put anything in the body. And if anybody has questions after this, that email address you can reach me at. So great. So if you don't want to take notes, sign up there. But that brings us to the 3 essential steps for landing more clients faster than you think possible. Step number 1. Well, actually, let's take a step back, because I want to talk to you about why this is so important. Why it's important that you not only get clients, but you get the right clients. Because there are 3 things that I believe that make for a happy life. Right? Here's a little Venn diagram. 1 is your income. Not everybody wants to be a millionaire, but everybody wants to have food on the table, right? So your income definitely does play into your happiness level. Your freedom, your ability to do what you want when you want it, work with who you want to work with, those types of things, and your impact. Your impact on your clients, your impact on your family, your community, your nation, the international community. Everybody has different aspirations in those spheres, but they all play together. And when you've got a combination of all 3 of those things, that's the sweet spot, right? I think that's where happiness lives, is in that sweet spot where you're making enough money, you're free to do what you want when you want to do it, and you're making an impact in the world around you, at whatever level those different things mean to you. And the thing about clients is that they affect all 3 of those spheres. Who you work with, how much they pay you, and what you're doing with them affects every single one of those things. So it is imperative that you not only attract clients, but you attract clients that you want to work with. That you attract clients that will pay you well, that you don't have to barter, beg, negotiate with all the time, that you enjoy working with. And that's what we're talking about today. So, the first step for landing more clients than you think possible is actually not what you might think it is, but it's your mindset. So, I got into this hoping to be a marketing coach. That's what I tell people I do. But then when I get into it, I realize that every entrepreneur has their own set of internal limitations. And when you are resisting doing something you know is going to grow your business, when you're resisting doing something you know is going to get you more clients, you're actually resisting something about yourself. If you want more clients, which everybody raised their hand said they wanted more clients, and I might say, why don't you have more clients? And if I kept asking why, we would probably trace it back to something internal. If you want more money and you want more clients, you have to increase your capacity to have more clients, to have more money. And so when I got into this, I didn't realize that, and so it was something I kind of stumbled into, but it's so important. And there's 2 things in particular that you need to get comfortable with. The first is that you are not your business. I'm just going to write biz for time's sake. The second is you are enough. And that one is the big one. Because whether you're trying to level up your business, as in get more clients because you're already successful and you're ready to take it from that 6-figure to 7-figure mark, or you're ready to go from 100 clients to 200 clients, or whether you're just starting out and you're trying to land your first client. Most of us fail because of an internal thought that we're not good enough, that our program or our process or our product isn't good enough. And so the first thing you have to do is actually realize that regardless of what your business does, regardless of if clients work with you or not, you are valuable as a human being. By the pure fact that you exist, you are valuable. And your worth is not connected to how your business performs. And by embracing that thought, you actually increase your capacity to get more clients. By stepping into that confidence, you're going to approach your clients differently. And they're going to feel that. And call it whatever you want. I think it's funny because I would not classify myself as like a touchy-feely or woo-woo type person, like oh yeah, you've got to have this inner confidence. Like, I wouldn't classify myself as that, but call it energy, call it whatever you want. The way you approach your clients really does affect the relationship. And if you are not confident in your services and your worth as a human being, they can feel that and they pull away from it. Versus if you are confident in your services and who you are, they're attracted to that. It flips it. It flips the dynamic so that instead of you trying to pull all these clients, hey, look at me, they want to be with you because you have almost a magnetic appeal. And then this first one, you're not your business. It is possible for someone to like you as a person and hate your business. That's normally not likely. Normally it's, I like you, but your services don't really match with me right now. But too many times we put too much stock on, I want people to like me. And it's unproductive for your business. And let's talk about it from a technical aspect. I know a business owner who likes to wear a lot of hats, and he does a lot of advertising. And the reason why I bring this up is because he gets a lot of hate mail about the hats he wears. And so if he were attached to his business in a way where like what people say about the business or about me really affects me personally, and my self-esteem is tied to that, he might stop wearing hats in his videos and his advertisements. But when we look at the data and compare side-by-side advertisements of him without a hat and him with a hat, the hat performs better. So he's getting all this hate mail, and if he were to let that affect him personally, he would probably make the decision to run the other ad, and he would make less money. So by disconnecting your self-worth, give me 1 second, by disconnecting your self-worth from that of your business, you can make smart decisions that help grow your business. And the fact of the matter is that when you get more hate mail, you're actually doing something right. When you get a lot of negative comments, it's because you're ruffling feathers, and that's the way you actually change the world. Yeah?
You didn't mean that as a metaphor? The dude actually wears hats.
The dude actually, yeah.
He's not wearing a lot of hats in his business, he's wearing a lot of hats in his, okay.
Yeah. So the question was, I just want to repeat it, is he wearing literal hats or metaphorical hats? No, he's wearing literal, and he describes them as funky hats. So like, it's not just like a baseball cap. I don't think it's a sombrero ever, but it's the cool, funky, trendy hats. Yeah. So what you think is possible is possible. What you think is impossible literally is impossible. A good example of this is the 4-minute mile. The 4-minute mile once was thought to be impossible. Humanly impossible. They thought no one could ever do it. And I don't remember the year. It was post-World War II. A runner named Roger Bannister broke that barrier by 1 second. That's it, 1 second. 3 minutes, 59 seconds. But the thing about it is, suddenly the impossible was possible. And not even 3 months later, another runner broke the record again. Today, the record is 3 minutes and like 43 or 44 seconds. I don't know the exact number. But 15 seconds is not a huge amount of time, but it is when you're trying to run a mile. That's a lot of time. And what was formerly thought to be impossible is now the standard in long-distance running. So let's compare that to your business. You might have a cap on how much money and how many clients you work with. And that cap, whether you admit it or not, is what's keeping you from getting new clients. If you can shatter that cap, if you can deal with that belief, then you increase your capacity to have more clients. You can make a game out of it. This month I made X amount of money, next month I'm going to make this much money, and then the next month I'm going to make this much money. And those small little steps are going to incrementally bring you higher and higher and higher until you're at a level you never even dreamed you could be at. So imagine if you could fully step into being a business owner that is confident and in control of their business. Imagine if you could set seemingly outlandish goals and then go out and accomplish them. Imagine if people were coming to you instead of you coming to them, and that's what we're talking about here. Getting your mindset in the right spot so that you can actually go and get clients and they want to work with you, right? Okay, great. We're going to have a Q&A at the end, but before we move on to step 2, I'd also like to just see if there's questions before we move on or comments. We'd love to hear them. Okay, great. So let's move on to step number 2 then. So that one is kind of, step number 1 is not really what you expect. It's a little nebulous, honestly. The next two steps are very specific and very action-based. So the second step is you need to have a killer marketing message. Why is this important? Your marketing message is the basis to all other marketing you do. This is the foundation that will make or break your business, quite literally. I mean, I don't want to put way too much pressure on this, but seriously, this might be the most important thing you do in regards to your business. Because this is what makes people stand up and listen. This is what makes it so that when you're sitting at a networking event, and everyone's been there, right? We go around the room and say, what do you do? What do you do? And you stand up and you say something that you do. Your marketing message is what makes people say, wait, stop. I want to hear more. What does that mean? Right? So that's what we're talking about here. What we're talking about is a structured sentence or phrase that you use to describe what you do. And that becomes the basis then, not word for word, but you can take it and pull it apart and put it into all your copy, into all your advertising. It creates the brand almost of your business. But it's the foundation. This is the first part. So imagine if you were to go into a networking event and someone to say, what do you do? So let's take me, for example. I could say, oh, I'm a marketing coach. And they'd say, oh, great. Okay, what do you do? They'd move on. But so what I say is I help people land more clients, and I help them do it faster than they think possible. That's a lot more intriguing, isn't it? That might lend to the follow-up question, oh, how do you do that? And then that leads into a conversation that we can engage in about how I do what I do. Right? So imagine going into a networking event and being able to pull somebody into that conversation, have it feel natural, and have it lead towards gaining a new client. That's what having a killer marketing message is all about. So let's talk how exactly you can craft a marketing message. There is a formula, and there's a few steps to how you actually do that. So I'm going to erase up here so we have some space. And I do have my notes here. If anybody has questions, feel free to call out, but I want to make sure that I don't miss out on sharing everything I want to share with you. So I just want to make sure that I'm on track here. Yeah, great. Okay. So, killer marketing message, the 3 steps to it. There's 3 parts. The client, the problem, and the result. Is that right? Yeah. Nowadays, if I don't have Microsoft Word to tell me what I'm doing. Okay, the result. Okay, so you need all 3 of those parts into your marketing message. Now, you might not use your entire message every time you talk to somebody. So, for instance, the example I just gave, I didn't say my whole marketing message. My whole marketing message is I help creative service professionals and entrepreneurs who are frustrated that their business isn't growing. I help them to land more clients than they think possible, and I help them to do it faster than they think possible. So if you look at my example there of what I do, I've got all 3 elements there. I've got the client, who I work with. I've got the problem, what is causing their business pain, and I've got the result, right? So let's put another example. I would love to personalize the example. Can somebody just shout out what they do? Financial advisor, okay. Ben's like, I gotta jump all over this. Financial advisor. Okay. Okay, so let's put Ben through this formula then, okay? So Ben, let's just do fill in the blank. I work with. How would you end that sentence?
People, individuals.
Okay, not specific enough. Because here's why. This is a great example. Here's why. If you were to walk into a room, and, let me take a step back, Ben, before you think more specific while I do this. let's say someone were to walk in here and we're in between sessions and so we're all chatting and they said, hey, I've got some cookies. Does anybody want a cookie? Who's going to respond? Probably nobody, right? One guy, yeah, me. Probably nobody though, right? But let's say instead of coming in and just kind of yelling to the group, they start going group to group and saying, hey, I've got some freshly baked cookies just in the kitchen. I think you guys are really going to enjoy them. They're just for you. Why don't you go get them? How likely are you to respond if someone comes to your group and says something like that? A lot more likely. Your marketing message needs to be the same. It needs to be directed at a group. And here's the funny thing is that once that group starts to leave, other people are going to notice that they're leaving, and the groups around them perhaps maybe heard you say what you said, and they're going to say, well, I want those cookies. Those sound delicious. And so they're going to start going too. So while you think, niching down might feel like it's trapping you, it's actually freeing you and helping you to have a deeper impact. So let's get a little bit more specific.
Sure. So it's difficult for me because I have multiple verticals, but one that I work with is the young and affluent.
Okay. So we could get even more specific next. You could say young and affluent business owners. You could say young and affluent, I don't know. Professionals, yeah. Heir. The only word I can think of is heiress, but people who inherited their money. But we could get more specific, but I think that's good, okay? What do you help them to do? Oh, no, wait, I'm sorry. So we got the client, now we need to put the problem. What's their problem?
I help them solve the financial problems that they're not aware of so that they can be the future leaders of our city.
Okay, so if they're not aware of it, are they feeling the pain?
Maybe not.
Probably not. What are the pains that they are aware of that you can help them fix?
I help them grow.
Lack of knowledge, I would think, about what to do with their money.
Let's combine those things, because you're talking result and you're talking pain. Yeah, who are worried about how to organize, place their money, however you want to phrase it, right? And then so that's our problem, so then we add the result, so that blank.
They can be the future leaders of our city.
Let's just say the leaders of our city. You know that they're future leaders. They think they already are leaders. So you want to make sure that you play to what their words. Now here's the thing about a marketing message too. Ben might not necessarily love this marketing message, but the true test of if a marketing message is good or not has nothing to do with Ben. Has everything to do with the way that his client responds to it. So if he goes out in the marketplace and he starts using this and people start paying attention, he knows he's got a good message. If people don't pay attention, he knows it's a loser. He should adjust, he should change. But it's all about testing. Once you land on a good message, keep it for a while. A year, 6 months, somewhere around there. So that you can at least know that it's working correctly. But this is how, getting this part right, is how you can walk into any networking event, you can walk into any social event and leave with potential clients. How great would that be? To know that you could go to any event you wanted to and leave with potential clients. That you know the exact words to say so that people pay attention. That's what we're talking about. That's it right there. That's how you do it. Okay. We're about to move on to step 3. Are there any thoughts or questions? No, everyone's on board. Good. I'm either being really clear or I'm being really vague, so hopefully I'm being clear. Okay. Step number 3. Do more marketing. How many times can I underline that? Do more. Okay, so what I want to talk about right now is that we want to do both quality and quantity of marketing. Okay, so why do we want to do this? First of all, we want to do this because marketing is how we get the attention of potential clients. This is how you get a stranger to go from being a stranger to being a paying client, right? Your marketing. But here's the problem. Most things that we classify as marketing, it's not actually marketing. It's things that look like marketing, but it's not. So I want to introduce to you a few terms to help you do this. I'm going to erase this. If you didn't get it, or if you want it, you can just talk to me afterwards. Whoops. Yeah, it's all on the video too. Okay. That marker's not working for us. Okay, here we go. Client-generating activities, long-term value, paid service delivery, low dollar. Okay? What I want you to do, let's do an activity really quick just to see. I want you to write down, if you have a piece of paper, write down just your last work day, what you did. So between, whatever hours you worked that you consider your work day, make a list. What is it that you did that day? You can do it mentally if you don't have something to write with. But seriously, try and map out what you did during your work day. If you didn't work yesterday, your most recent work day. Great, just a few more seconds to do that. Doesn't have to be a complete list, just a good idea. Okay, so now let's go through these categories, because what I'm going to have you do is I'm going to actually have you put categories next to that list you made. Client-generating activities. These are the activities that actually get you in front of clients. Okay? Long-term value are good activities that are important to your business, but don't get you in front of clients. Okay? Now, the reason why I want to say those two right next to each other is because I want to contrast them. What would going to a networking event be? Going to the event? Being at the event? Do you have the potential to be in front of potential clients? So it would be a client-generating activity. What about planning which networking event to go to? That one's long-term value. Okay, let's do some very common ones. What about writing a blog post? Long-term value. What about publishing the blog post? Client-generating, because it's got the opportunity to bring you clients, right? So it's important we make those distinctions, because too many people sit there and write blog posts for months and months and months and never publish them. You just wasted months and months and months because you never got the opportunity to get in front of a client. Yet we call that marketing. That's not marketing. That's wasting your time. So it's important that we make the distinction. Here's a very common one, and I'm sorry if I'm hitting home to you. There are 990 some odd million websites active. But how many business owners spend all of their time tweaking the website? Before the end of the year, so in the next 2 months, there's supposed to be over 1 trillion websites. Your website is literally 1 in 1 trillion. What are the odds that your client is going to stumble upon your website? So it's a misconception that you need a website in order to get clients. It's actually the opposite. Your website starts getting traction once you start getting clients and things moving in your business, right? So spending all your time working on the website is a long-term value thing. It's important, especially in today's society. People want to see that, but that has nothing to do with you getting clients. So it's important that we classify the difference between those two of those and make sure we know the line that divides them. Because you want to spend 80% of your time when you don't have clients doing this. When you do have clients, 20%. Never below 20%. If you go below 20%, that's why you experience seasons of feast and seasons of famine. Because you're not putting in the time to get the clients all the time. Okay, paid service delivery, very simple. That's when you're doing work you're getting paid for. So obviously what we'd like to see is most of your time in one of these two categories. Either you're getting paid for what you're doing or you're getting out there and you're getting people to pay you to do things. And then the last one is low dollar. And that's just things that don't matter, right? So these things don't necessarily depend on the tool. So let's put an example. Let's go with LinkedIn, because we've just spent some time talking about LinkedIn. Can LinkedIn be a client-generating activity? Yeah. Ben just explained to us how it could be a client-generating activity. Could it be a long-term value? Yeah, building your profile, that's long-term value, right? Could it be paid service delivery? Yeah, it could. You create a LinkedIn group that you have clients that join the group and you moderate, you give advice. Yeah, they could be paying you for that. People do it all the time. Could it be low dollar? Could you spend your whole time scrolling through LinkedIn instead of doing what you know you're supposed to do? Yeah. Trade LinkedIn for Facebook, and how many of us have done that, right? Yeah, I have, for sure. So this is not dependent on the tool. This is dependent on how you use the tool. So this is more of a way for you to classify. So take a second and look at your list. Put a little note next to them. What is it? What is it that you spent your time doing? Okay, now I don't know your individual situations, but everyone did raise their hand and say they wanted clients, right? So you know your individual situation. I gave you some benchmarks. If you have no clients, 100% of your time should be right here. If you have some clients, 80%. If you're about half full, 50%. If you are full, 20%. Take a look at your list. Does that match where you're at? All of you said you wanted clients. Are you putting in the actual time to get clients? Because if you're not, that's why it's not happening for you. So if you have none, 100%. If you've got some, then you're probably 80%. And then when you're about halfway full, then you split your time. If you're full up on clients, you always want to spend about 20%. Yeah, so the minimum is 20, and then if you don't have clients, about 80%. It's probably where people lie in that range. Okay, so why is this important? Imagine if you knew every month exactly what you had to do to get clients. You knew exactly which lever to pull, you knew exactly which button to push, and then at the end of the month or the next week, you've got new clients. By identifying those activities and by doing more of the activities that get you clients, that's how you can do that. That's how you can predictively, that's how you can predict your growth. That's how you know that you can go from 100K to 200K next year, or from 0 to 100K, or wherever you're at to whatever you want to be. This is how you plan it out, because you got to learn those activities that get you going. You know, if I had to add a bonus step in here too, I would also, so this is not in the notes, this is an exclusive bonus for Medici members right now. Focus on one. Mastery of one marketing tactic is worth the shotgun approach, right? So for instance, Ben just talked to us about being a master of LinkedIn, what would you call that? LinkedIn mining, networking, right? And he got to be a master because it worked, and he knew it worked, and so he focused on it. The same thing's for you. Don't try to do everything. You can't. When you have enough money that you can afford a team, that you can start having a little specialist underneath you, then yeah, branch out. But at first, make sure you're focused. All right, that's the Medici bonus right there. Hope you like that, yeah. Okay, guys, I want to make a special offer for you before we wrap up. I know that this is a lot of information, and I know that we barely scratched the surface. We're going to have some time for some Q&A, but we're probably not going to be able to talk about your individual needs or your individual questions about your business, like in depth. So if this is something that you really want to get more into, you really want clients, and you need somebody to help you to get that focus, then I want to talk to you. I've set aside some time just for this meeting, just for you guys. And so I'm going to pass around a sign-up sheet for a free 45-minute session with me where I help you get clarity on what you want, clarity on what's in your way, and action steps on how to get there. And that's my free gift to you because you came today. But this is not for everybody. So I'm going to pass this around, but don't feel peer pressure to sign up because this is not for everybody. This is for somebody who is really serious about growing and really needs help and is ready to take action. Because that's who I want to work with, is people that really want to succeed and really want to go big. So I'll pass it around. But I think in the meantime, sorry, can you reach that? Let's answer some questions. Sure, we'll start in the back once you get the microphone, wherever it's at. Sean in the back is raising his hand.
So you mentioned be a master on one of these as our Medici bonus. For someone who's maybe just starting up a new concept and things like that, which would you go top down as far as the things to focus on and master first?
As in, so when I meant focus on one, you mean these steps here?
Well, yeah, the Medici focus on.
Okay, so what I meant by that, good question. So let me clarify. What I meant by that is your marketing tactics. So if you're going to use LinkedIn to get clients, use LinkedIn. Don't use LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and speaking, and networking, and this, and that. Focus on one thing. And become a master in that. And be the go-to guy like Ben has become of the LinkedIn approach. You know, he said it himself, he's not a LinkedIn guy, he's a financial advisor. Now, you don't want to do that, you don't have to be that forever. Just until you get enough clients and revenue that you can start then either getting people to help you, or you can start dividing your time because you know how to do LinkedIn so well, it takes you this much time, and you can try other stuff. But in terms of, I've got an idea and I'm just getting going, you need to do all these things. Sure. Yeah.
I'm going to take, anybody else have a question? I'll have a question. Put the mirror either on yourself or on Medici and run yourself through the process of what you do to find coaching yourself.
Clarify a little bit.
So if you were in the hot seat as your own client, what would you tell yourself to do? What would you advise yourself? What are you focused? What is the one laser focus that you do better in getting more clients?
Are you looking for a specific tactic? Is that what you're looking for?
I'm looking for advice to yourself.
So I have a program that I put people through, and I have put myself through it. And actually that part of my journey of mastering how to get clients was, for a long time, I did not appreciate my own self-worth, right? So a lot of my time was spent spinning wheels. So I put myself through my program. So, I mean, at the point I'm at now, I'm now focusing on marketing. I'm focusing on getting people in my front door because my foundation is firm. So depending on where you're at, that answer's gonna be different. Because the first thing you gotta get is your marketing message, your mindset, your niche, your pricing and your packages. You gotta get all that firm before you start really, I mean, you can get clients during that time, but before you pull that lever where you're just bringing in truckloads of clients, that foundation needs to be firm. So for me, my main marketing focus is speaking. So that's what I focus on. So my advice to myself would be make sure you're doing those activities that get you more speaking gigs, and make sure you're focused on getting more in the door. Does that answer?
Yep.
Great.
Anybody else? Any other questions?
Yeah.
So on the mindset, I've been to a lot of innovation summits. That seems to be the biggest challenge for people to overcome. What tips do you have, or what have you encountered as far as people being able to switch their mindset?
So the most important thing is support. Getting a mentor or a coach or a mastermind group or a community, you know. So there's two resources here right now, me and Medici. I think Medici is a great place to get that support. But putting yourself in environments where you get appreciation and where people help you understand that you're valuable and that your service is valuable, that's what you need to start doing, is putting yourself in that. Because most of us live our lives in like a sphere where not everybody is supporting our goals. And so if you find that you're in that space, that toxic space, then you need to get yourself out of that. But I think, Josh is making his way up here, so I think that's all my time. But thank you guys very much for having me. Let's have another 20 minutes.
Well, Craig, that was awesome.
There you go.
And we're very happy to have Craig as a Medici member, and you did a great job. So thank you very much.